Is the fear of rejection really holding you back from doing what you want into life and having a better quality life? Well, today I'm going to share 3 tips with you that has helped me over recent times and times in the past to overcome the fear of rejection. And if you stay until the end, I'll give you an extra special point that is really going to wrap it all together. So don't miss that one because it's the most important. So for me, like in my life, I've I've experienced the fear of rejection, um, and sometimes it's got the better of me, and sometimes it hasn't. Now, as I've gone more into my personal growth journey, more into my self-esteem and confidence journey, it's been less of something that's got the better of me because of the tools, because of the practices, and everything I've been doing. And that's what I really want to share with you today. Things like in the workplace, in my career. I remember in my early mid 20s, even parts of my later 20s, when I'm 32 now, but I'd be terrified to say something to someone that they might not like. And to be honest, I didn't really care about the work I was doing, but as a job, yeah, I'd be terrified to approach someone and talk to them about like what I needed them to do, or I was scared to read my emails and things like that. I was terrified to have anything bad come towards me. In business, like if you're in a coaching business in particular, now I'm doing less of the coaching, I'm doing various other stuff. But obviously, I love to share here and I love to share my stories. But when I was in coaching, to be a coach, you need to reach out to people and have conversations. The coaches who do the best in business are not necessarily the best coaches. They're just very good at reaching out because they've got over the fear of rejection, and therefore they're very good at getting people onto a call and potentially showing them their coaching. Now, they're not all bad people. Some of them don't have as much integrity, yet those will be the ones who do the best. Yet you can find some really heartfelt coaches who will just hope people are going to come to their website, which in my opinion is the most ridiculous thing to do. Just having a website and sit there, it's a waste of money and time. Yeah, you'll find coaches who will do that, and it's because they won't go out and start conversations online or networks as much because they're terrified of the fear of rejection. I was in that boat. I was terrified to reach out to people or talk to people when they needed the support. So that's a fear of rejection I've had in my dating life, huge one, right? I'd be terrified for years and years and years. I'd use excuses in my head. And by the way, our head is very good at making excuses in all these areas of like why I shouldn't approach a girl, why I need to learn a bit more, or whatever like that, or that I shouldn't be asking her out on the next date. And I've worked through that more and more. And that's an area I've the fear of rejection's got the better of me. Friendships, I'd say for most of my 20s, I've been pretty good with this. Yet in my teens, I wasn't. I'd really struggled to approach people. And because I had a good experience late in my late teens, and I actually took some action, that reinforced me to do more of it and make more friends. And that's what I'm going to go into. Taking action is really, really key because when you take action, you can get results. And you might not always. And that's what halts us. We'll go into that in a minute. Yeah, I made some good friendships because I overcame it. I moved through it. I had to take action on it. So for me personally, like I've had the fear of rejection get the better of me. And, there's always going to be fear in our head. There's no fearless people in this world. There are just people who fear less. As one of my mentors, Jason McClendon, one of the top high performance coaches in the world, says. And Tony Robbins said, courage is not the absence of fear. We all have fear. It's feeling the fear and doing it anyway. Now, what I was touching on a little bit is when you take action, you are more likely to get results. Think about it. It's very simple, but our emotions get the better of us. The more action you take, the more likely you can to get a result. Okay. So if you don't do anything, what are the chances things are going to change? Very, very minimal, if anything. Yeah. When we take action, we're more likely to get results. When we get a positive reinforcing one, that's going to encourage us to do more of it. Now, the problem is most of us want instant gratification. And I've been guilty of this myself. When you're like, right, I'm going to take action, I'm going to get the results straight away. That's not how the world works, unfortunately. Like people in business know this. Some people in dating relationships know this. Again, like some people there is an element of things rolling into place for some people. Yes, I'm not going to lie. And that's happened to me. Like my podcast took off and it doesn't for other people, right? even though they're very consistent. I know people do that. There is an element sometimes of things that happen, but when we take more action, we're more likely to get results. And therefore, that's why it's those who take the most action usually get the most results. And that allows them to overcome the fear because they're doing it again and again and again. Now, we're going to go into some points in a minute. But I want to ask you, how's it helping you by just letting the fear of rejection get in your mind and you're not doing anything with it? You're not taking any action to overcome it. Now, we're not talking about you have to do something dramatic that's so terrifying to you. We're talking about maybe little steps today. And some of these are going to be a little bit of a big step, but you can break it down even smaller if you like to. But you're not going to just literally sit there, be able to meditate if you try and meditate for an hour a day and hope your fears of rejection is going to go away. No, that might calm you down a little bit, yet you actually have to take the action at the end of the day. So let's talk. Let's talk about this. So the first thing I want to say is it's really important to do the inner work as well as taking the action, because if you take a load of actions and the results don't go your way at first, then you're going to feel a little bit deflated, a little bit struggling, and it's going to be a bit frustrating. So that's really, really important to do. Okay, so do the inner work, and the best way to do that is get a coach, someone who can observe you, someone to talk with you. If you're thinking, and it really helps me with my coach, like I could do journaling, I could look at free stuff, but I'm not a fan of free stuff personally because I like to exchange value for something. Obviously you're listening to something free now, and hopefully this is going to be the catalyst for you to go and get a coach or something that's really going to drive you forward. But yeah, like it's really important to get a coach, do the journaling, do some kind of inner work that's going to help you. And why I say a coach, because it's going to be specific to you, right? And I could say like journaling, meditation, all these things. We have so much information online, but when you get someone who's personally going to help you, they're going to be able to make it more custom to you and what you need and what that inner work could be. That's why there's so much there's more information than there's ever been today, and that's why people are doing very little because they're getting very confused. And that's why the people I see the best invest in themselves. Yet most people don't invest in themselves, but they buy items like cars, houses, clothes and stuff like that. So that would be my first suggestion: do the inner work, and the best way to do that is to get a coach. Okay, now let's dive into actually some actions you can take with overcoming the fear of rejection. The first one is to find a way to get rejected daily. Just, it can be small. Now, for me, this worked quite well at the beginning. Walking past people in the street and saying good morning. And when someone ignores you, that's a tick. Yes, you've done it. Well done. Right. If someone say, good morning to you, or they're like, meh, morning, that counts as rejection. If they give you an enthusiastic good morning, that doesn't count. It's great. You smile back and everything, and you feel like you made a connection. That probably builds you confidence because you took the action. But the aim is we're trying to experience more rejection, so therefore we build a stronger resilience to it. So that's one thing you can do every day. The second thing is getting into sales or chat or working for a charity or something like that every day. Why is that? The people on the street who come up to you and talk to you about their charity, I always congratulate them, tell them how amazing they are, what a wonderful do. I don't care about politics. This is another one. Personally, I know we've all got different views. I'm not massively into it. But when a politician or someone or a party knocks on my door and talks to me, I'm not really paying attention to what they're saying. I'm not going to lie. I'm congratulating them because that takes courage. And when you can recognize it in other people, that's great. Right? When someone cold calls me, like, great work, that takes courage. That is amazing. You must have built up such a resilience to the fear of rejection. If you get angry at those kind of people, yeah, okay, if they keep calling you every hour, yeah, I can, that's going to be frustrating. Yeah. If you could start to recognize these people have developed the fear of rejection, and then you've got that ability at all, that completely changes it. I congratulate people who just like randomly try and sell me something. I think that's awesome. Right. So you need to take more of a positive attitude to that. So the best way to do that is to go into like sales or charity. Now I've gone into sales, and it is, you still get, you could, like, people are really harsh. Yeah, you're going to get impacted, right? But it really builds up your resilience to rejection, and that's a really, really good skill, right? And then the third one, now this is if you're single, this is a way, and I definitely use one of these three things, if not two of these. You could even go for free if you want, out of the three ways I'm sharing. And this one is if you're single, and I've done this, go on dating apps, go to speed dating, things like that. Why is that? So many people are terrified of it because they think, what if the person doesn't like me? Move on, go to another person. But it's like, what it does, it builds up a resilience of feeling the fear of rejection as well. I went to a speed dating like last year, and I felt amazing after it, and absolutely, I got no matches, right? In fact, I only selected 2 out of the 11. But anyway, the 2 said no to me. But I was so proud of myself, went completely sober. No, everyone else was having a drink. I went completely sober, was just talking to all the girls, and like the only 2 I selected said no to me. And I was like, yes, I took action. I praised myself and I felt amazing. So that's something you can do. And if you're not single, you can go to more networking events. Just look them up. That could be an opportunity. Basically, what I'm saying here, the more rejection you can face, there's the inner work, and then there's these 3 ways I'm sharing with you. The best way to do the inner work is to get a coach, but if not, you don't have to pay loads for one. You can get a very standard one, and then as you make more money, you can maybe get a more advanced one. But you need another person's point of view, right? So that's the first. And then one of these ways of facing the fear of rejection, whether it's saying good morning to someone, whether it's going into sales or working for a charity, or maybe even starting your own business, you're going to have to get out there, and don't just create a website and sit there and hope they come. No, you need to start talking to people facing that fear. Or the third option is to go out there. If you're single, go out there and date, or go to more networking opportunities if you're not. So those are my 3 ways for overcoming the fear of rejection. Now, I really want to talk about this key point extra, because it's really, really, really going to be a game changer for you. Really, really help me. And it's this: praise yourself every time you go out and face the fear of rejection. Whatever it is, you praise yourself, you celebrate, you go, yes, I schedule in my celebrations every single day. Not that my celebrations aren't always about the fear of rejection, facing rejection, but they can be about many things. But schedule in celebrating yourself every single day, especially schedule in celebrating yourself when you get rejected, because it tells you it is nothing of fear as your brain's making it out to be. Your brain is a survival mechanism. It's trying to keep you alive. Instead, praise yourself for taking the action, because that's going to build more confidence. And then tick yourself on a chart. Like if you're doing how many days in a row can you go out and face the fear of rejection, ticking that off on the chart is going to be amazing. Now, before I conclude, I want to make a really key point, and I didn't even have this written down. It's just something I'm really, really feeling strongly about. Now, if you're in a place right now and you're really, really, if you're in a place where something's like knock you off, and you're like, you really need super support, and you're really struggling, and maybe it's a bit of grief or trauma or something like that. Yeah, maybe this kind of stuff right now is not the best timing. Do get like the support you need, obviously, whether it's a professional, friends and family, it's probably both. Yeah, if you're in a place where right now you're not facing like a huge, a deep level of grief, loss, trauma, and that kind of thing, yet you're at a place where you're like, I'm lacking confidence, I want to build it, I don't feel so good about myself, and you're like, I can't do these things. I'm just going to call this out. You are not special in that way. Everybody feels that way. I've worked with so many people like, well, I feel like this. Everyone feels like that. Everyone has fear. It's just about facing it. It's just about one thing you could do that can completely transform your relationship. If, for example, you were terrified of approaching like someone you liked, and then you just made one decision one night and you approached someone you liked and you became an item in the relationship, that completely transformed. It's just that one action. But then you didn't, it could have made you miserable and stuck, right? It just or in business, you could have approach one person, one deal, and it made you like $10,000 that month, right? Everyone has these fears. Like, people think, what's another way to get round of it other than taking the act? There is no way to get round of it other than taking the action, but combine it with your inner work, right? I'm just really passionate about this. It's like, confidence does not come before you take the action. Confidence comes after you take the action. And especially when you don't get the result you want, you praise yourself because that reinforces you to do more of it. So that's something I really, really, really want to emphasize. Okay. And I wouldn't be doing you a favor if I didn't say that. Okay. Because I'm looking for your best interest. I'm not here to just tell you, oh, it's all right. Yeah. Just keep, like, pouncing about and letting rejection get top of you. No, I'm here to actually help you or be your guide to get you the results you want. Okay. So I appreciate you for being here. You're improving other people's lives by being the best you. And remember, you're in control of your own self-esteem and confidence.